Every meeting.
2 pounds of bologna and a County Commission to order. If you would sign in on roll call, we need 11 for a quorum, and I know that we have. How many do we have? 12? Fucking Jesus, got 12 disciples. Put them up on the board, Frank. Janet, log in. Got 12. So we have a quorum. I'll ask our chaplain to lead us in our prayer, and I'll ask Commissioner Byrd to do the Pledge of Allegiance. Since Sammy's not here, I hope he doesn't get upset.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for coming, and happy Labor Day weekend, I guess, would be in order. Thank you, commissioners, for coming on short notice for this special call meeting. I do not have any requests from citizens to speak, and so we have some budget amendments, but they haven't gone to the budget committee, which means we would have to suspend the rules in order to consider it, and that would take 14 votes, and I don't think we can get that with 12 people here. So we can't expend any funds or do any budget items without suspending the rules. You can talk about it, but you can't take any action if that's your desire. But that brings us to approval of notaries and bonds. Go ahead.
Had two that applied after I turned in the list. Melissa Murphy and James Ray Walker, both from Dandridge.
So we have a motion and a second. No discussion. All in favor of approving these notaries and bonds, vote yes. Opposed, vote no. So it passes 12-0. So that will put us down to new business. It's Jefferson County Schools Energy Project. So we will hear a report from Mr. Arnold on that.
Thank you, Commissioner. I appreciate the opportunity to come here tonight and speak before the commission. We have Perfection Group who has joined us. They're in the back here. Board chose to partner with them on this energy project. Wanted to talk just a little bit about this energy project and what it is. So we're looking to produce lower energy cost across the district, also with increased equipment efficiency. Right now, in the past 35 days, we've had almost 95 work orders come in from various equipment that has needed attention in our HVAC system since July the 25th. Also looking at decreased maintenance. Some of our units have a lot of age on them and are causing issues reoccurring. And the biggest thing is this project improves the indoor climate, air quality, and comfort within our buildings. Right at the start of school, nothing's worse than 100% humidity, 95-degree day, and no air. Of course, with school safety, and over the years, many of our windows are fixed, don't open. We don't open them for school safety anyway. That was the reason why we put HVAC in our gymnasiums, to be able to lock and secure them along the way. This project involves upgrade in lighting across the district. So we would move from T8 to LED lighting at all of our schools across the entire district. And the equipment would be a replacement or a retro recommission of the equipment. For instance, in our 1985 built schools, Dandridge, White Pine, and Newmarket, much of that equipment is there existing, nearing close to 48 or 38 years old now. So if we've had a unit that's failed and in the last 4 or 5 years put a new unit in there, we would simply just recommission that unit, retro commission it to back to new like standards. And then some of our Rush Strong School has some aging equipment, rooftop units, units within the classroom that really need to be replaced. They're showing reoccurring issues with HVAC problems at Rush Strong School. And then since the onset of Patriot Academy, we've had some issues with that equipment that has caused a lot of expenditures on maintenance, and we would look it has a lot of life left in it, and we'd look to retro commission that unit back, along with the units at the high school, to make sure that that is our largest area, square footage, building usage, and last year we were well over $200,000 just in repair costs to those. Whenever you take a 20-ton unit that a compressor goes bad on, it's easily a $15,000 plus repair. One key component to our partnership with Perfection Group is Perfection Group's going to provide us with training to our staff, troubleshooting, and preventive maintenance to our staff to be able to extend the life of these units as we move forward. This will make Jefferson County Schools proactive as we move forward, as opposed to right now, we're just reactive. We're taking a unit that's down, we're sending people out, we're getting it up, moving on. So there's so many we're unable to, just like we talked about with the 85 schools and the units being 38 plus years old, we're not able to replace all that needs to be replaced. Kind of like we were in the situation with the roofs 3 years ago, and we have taken on those projects, and now we have minimal, we might have 1 or 2 roof leaks during a storm. That the school board was in favor of this project to request Perfection Group to enter into what is presented to you. The board voted on 7-0 in favor of this project, and 7-0 to apply for the EESI loan, energy efficient loan through the state. That's at 0.5%. You can apply for that up to $5 million. Whenever we talked to the board, we had not submitted that application. We have since submitted that. Right now, we don't anticipate getting the full $5 million. We hope somewhere around 3.5. In talking to the state, that's kind of where we're at right now in looking at that number. And also that number tells us that is mostly lighting. We're looking at talking to them for some additional cost in HVAC savings, but right now we feel comfortable with around a $3.5 million ESI loan. There again, whenever the board said that they would cover that $5 million EESI loan, that comes, the county commission's not on the hook for any amount we get for the EESI loan. The school system would pay that amount, and we feel comfortable at about setting aside money within the school budget of about $400,000 to be able to cover the ESI loan, and any additional money would go towards the debt that the county would incur on issuing a bond or ever how you deem to fund the rest of this project. Before we move on, Jesse, do you or Scott have anything that you all want to talk about as far as funding?
One thing I just wanted to mention is we have a current EESI loan that will be paid in full this June 2024. So that is debt that will be rolling off, $180,000 payment. So I just wanted to let you all know that debt will be rolling off in June. So if we were to take another EESI loan, it would just replace that one.
I have been working with Jesse on the financing plan, so if y'all do decide to move forward, we will come back at the budget meeting next month, or October, regularly scheduled meeting, and the county commission. We will, by then, have the final number from ESI. We should. That should happen by the end of this month, end of September. We can figure exactly what that is. I would propose that the county issue up to 7.8 million. It could be less depending on the size of the ESI loan to fund the balance of the project. Any shortfall from that, the schools could pick up. We should be really close on the funding. That'd be probably a 12 to 15-year payback on those ESI loans, and we would also do the bond financing along the same timeline, because we have done longer financings in the past, but this is obviously is HVAC and lighting and stuff, so the useful life is a little shorter. So 12 to 15 years is probably the payback period. And we will bring all that to the budget and county commission next month for discussion if y'all decide to move forward. And I'll be happy to answer any other questions.
Commissioners, anybody got any questions to guide Dr. Arnold on what the answer for you? Austin?
Dr.
Commissioner
Arnold,
Brooks, I mean.
no, I've been called worse. Dr. Arnold, you touched on it. Do you know how much, or maybe Jesse, do you know how much money has been spent on HVAC repairs throughout the system in the last 12 months?
I can look at last fiscal year. So last fiscal year, within the district, just within the contract on exact amount, estimate, okay, just on the high school and Patriot Academy alone, we were looking at about $190,000 there, and then probably right at another $75,000 to $80,000 across the district.
Is that money that was budgeted for HVAC repair, or how did you pay for that?
So we budget in operation, maintenance of the plant, and we have a line item in maintenance for repair equipment, and that's where most of our money is going towards, is repairing HVAC. We also repair roofs, but like I said, we had a roof project over the last 3 years that's taken care of that, down to about nothing towards roof repairs. And we were spending $80,000 on roof repairs my first year in 2019.
So the $400,000 that you said you felt comfortable yearly putting towards the loan, are you banking on the fact that you don't have to make all these repairs, or is that from utility savings, or both? Or?
Right. So the $400,000 is in the school system has a line this year. It is capital projects. So we put a allotment of money that we do various things on. We have done roofing projects. We have put gym HVACs. We have done flooring. We've done lighting, some at Jeff Middle, New Market. We have done some fencing projects, some there's a budget for paving in there that we cover that out of. But all of that goes in front of the board, and the board approves those capital projects based upon the needs assessment and the direction that it led us to go down. That's where roofs came in, some exterior doors, some of our security entrances over the years have been on that capital projects. So there again, the $400,000 that we're saying could go towards that basically would just come out of our capital projects line, because this is an investment in infrastructure, which is part of our capital assets.
The 180, this is a question for Jesse, I think. The $180,000, was that something for the schools or something on the county side?
Where did the 180 come from?
You said there was an ESI payment that,
ESI?
yeah, it drops off.
ESI can only be for the school system.
Okay, EESI, okay. And that drops off in June.
June 2024.
Okay. So do you have an idea of your maintenance and utility savings per year if this project was enacted?
Whenever you talk about maintenance savings, one thing to think about is right now, you know, one of our goals in there was to improve air quality within our buildings. So right now we have closed systems. These new systems would bring in outside air at 25%, recirculate it throughout the classroom. As you see the start of schools, if you would have been in my office, you would see emails come in about teachers wanting the rooms tested for mold, sinus infections, nosebleeds, all kinds of issues from just being in a closed environment without that. So we're taking out a 1985 unit and we're replacing it with a 2023 unit. So there is some savings in Sears, but there is also cost for that unit to run more effectively to improve the air quality without the building. So there is some savings. You know, you might show $100,000 in.
Yeah, where I was headed with that is you had stated that you had spent roughly $270,000 on repairs. So I thought if that money's already in the budget, that could be applied towards this project. That's where I was going with that.
Right, and that's where we're applying the $400,000 that we're
Okay.
committing towards that project.
Okay.
You know, I'm sure whenever you see, I don't know our role, whenever you, well, I mean, we're on every project we can, and we're spending money to fight roughly 1.2 million square feet of building space throughout our county. So, you know, it sounds like a lot of money that we have $225,000, but whenever you divide that by 1.2 million square feet, it doesn't go a long way to meet the needs we have. Sure. Just like whenever the needs assessment was brought to the board in 2019 and showed that we had X amount of needs to be able to update our school system, infrastructure. You know, we still have one of our major things in the needs assessments, doors. There's some windows that are still at Jeff Middle School. Every time I drive by there, it makes me cringe on the front of that building that are 1950 windows. So that's not an energy savings to replace those windows. A lot of them in locker rooms and things, but it's definitely an eyesore.
Yeah, agreed. What about the utility savings? I mean, I'm seeing, you know, let's conservatively say $130,000 a year. Could that be applied towards this project? Which I'm assuming utility savings just means your electric bill goes down.
Yeah, that's part of the $400,000
That's a part of
that
the
we are
400?
committing
Okay.
to this, yes. So whenever you look at that $400,000, like you mentioned, we said roughly $200,000 of maintenance cost, $100,000 some of utilities and additional money. So we feel comfortable that we could take out of our budget $400,000, earmark that for the life of the EESI loan, and commit that to this project.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Mr. Coleman.
Dr. Arnold, has there been any other cost estimates other than from this particular group?
So, kind of how this works. So this is a investment in, the board listened to 5 companies come in and talk about what they could do for Jefferson County schools. And out of those 5 companies, Perfection Group was chosen by the board as their vendor of units, lighting, counting lights, boilers, pumps. So you're not going to get 5 companies to come in and give you a cost estimate that it takes. They're not going to put forth the effort ahead of time. So basically what you are dealing with is a company that we feel like will be with us for the long haul to help us to upgrade our facilities, upgrade our systems, and be here to help us maintain these systems over the life of this project and beyond to train our staff. And it was a 7-0 vote by our board to choose this company to enter into negotiations in this project with.
Commissioner Seals?
Tommy, me and you've had this conversation before, but I like to see more clarity.
Yes, sir.
All we've talked about on this board for the last 3 or 4 years is how bad Jefferson Elementary.
Right.
So this study is telling me all we need is lights in there now?
Yeah, that's not correct. So that's all we're doing at that school. But there again, we're not doing, Talbot's not getting any. So this, there was 3 phases. I believe there was one with Perfection Group that addressed all schools, $26 million or some sort. So, there are other schools that are not getting touched. Have we fixed stuff? So, Mr. Bridgewater and myself, along with commissioners, toured that. There were some things brought up at Jefferson. I believe we had about, kind of like whenever you build a new house and you have a punch list. So we have a punch list of 45 items that we addressed at Jeff Elementary. We also have a payment. There are needs at Jefferson Elementary. I mean, every HVAC unit within Jefferson Elementary does need to be replaced. There is also, whenever we came across gym HVAC units, we ran out of money. One reason is because there's not enough power right now at Jefferson Elementary to be able to install HVAC equipment in the gym. So we're going to have to run a whole new, whatever the word is, whole new service to be able to run it. We had to do that at the big gym at Rush Strong, and it just so happened it was right there overhead, and it was minimal cost, but it'll be much more cost at Jefferson Elementary, but we do plan to do that.
All right, so we dropped building a new one or remodeling?
No.
With the school board still talking about that?
Sure, it's still a motion by the board for Jefferson Elementary School. They have that motion of a new school within there, and we just have needs, just like, yeah, we've got needs. And there again, we're not coming to you with wants. A HVAC unit 38 years old is a need, and we would like to see a better environment.
While we got a lull in action here, we need to welcome a youth leadership student that's with us tonight. So thank you for coming. All right. Mr. Snodgrass.
All right. Hey, Tommy. Sorry I didn't get with you early. I meant to call you early in the week on this one, but I've talked to a few folks about the calculation.
Yes.
And that's great for me, especially capital reallocation. I understand that you're saying $400,000 that you wouldn't spend on something, you're going to spend it on something else, right? Okay, so I don't understand why that is included in the final column as a savings, because we're not actually keeping that money, we're still spending that money, and if you pull that out, that makes it a negative project. Then you're just counting on maintenance and repair savings and utility savings. So that's, I mean, that's a little bit
Right.
deep, and think about that, and that's one of my struggle points. And then in the documents, the project flow, is it going to be all schools going on at the same time? Or are we going to finish a few schools, collect the data, make sure it works, make sure they're doing what they committed to, or?
Right. There again, we're going right off the bat, once the project goes, with lighting. I mean, that's your low-hanging fruit. That's where you're going to have your biggest bang for your buck. Along with that, it just depends on the units. Whenever we were at Piedmont Elementary in the renovation, we were around 11 months from time we ordered to get the units. So it'll just be a type, I'm sure we're not doing every school at the same time. There'll be some retro commission at the Patriot Academy in the high school. That'll be some people out of Atlanta, Mike Reed, who I've met, who's with Mitsubishi. I'm sure there'll be some conversations, some discussions. A lot of things have been done over time that may have changed the function of the units. So that'll be discussed with experts and how we can get that system back to where it needs to be. Hindsight's 2020. The school system building over here, whenever it was redone, a Mitsubishi units were placed on those, and a contract was entered into for service of that unit for a long period of time. I would give my right hand to have had that at Patriot Academy. And we didn't. We're in the mess we're in, and we need help getting out of it.
All right, thank you.
Commissioner Reed?
I just like to ask, does Jefferson have anything that they would like to come up and share with us?
You have anything? I mean, they're welcome to share.
You got anything
So
particular?
we've dealt
Mark?
with Matt Callahan. Slide that, please.
This is a project, as Tommy said, Dr. Arnold said, about need. You've got a lot of old systems. You've got in some of the schools that you're not getting the efficiency out of anymore. And although they're continuing to work at this point in time, there's this eventual timeline that they're going to stop and they have to be replaced. This project allows you to do that in a way that attacks it all at one time and provides, once you do that, you get the economies of scale of getting that energy return back. As Tommy said, the lighting is the best low-hanging fruit that you've got. We're looking at this, we've looked at and engineered everything, so it's not like you're building a new school where you've got a low bid and you've got someone that puts it in and may or may not have followed the design application of the systems, which could be the problem at the high school and the Patriot Academy at this time. But this is an engineered solution to get to a guaranteed savings component that says, if you spend this, you're going to save this, and after the first year of the performance period, we measure and verify that and come back based on international and national standards and say, here's what we projected, here's where you are. If there's a difference in that number that's negative, we have to pay the difference to make that guarantee whole, which is a huge part of this program, which is good. If the county school system saves more than what we projected, that money stays in their budget and is a value to it for using for something else. It's not encumbered in any way. we see value in the fact that you can't control your systems right now, so the schools that we're attacking on the control side will be able to be monitored. The staff will be alerted if there's an issue with any of the systems. It helps with maintenance schedules as well. But it also provides now the control for the air quality that Dr. Arnold was talking about earlier, and the functioning of the system. Right now, those units operate pretty much 24/7 if they're on a non-programmable thermostat. The high school and the Patriot Academy have a very sophisticated HVAC system now that really needs that dialed-in control that you don't have currently. So all those systems will be now on a digital control system that will be able to be seen from a central point and at the school. You don't have that functionality at this point in time, but now the savings from those controls will be provided by scheduling the buildings, typical occupancy during the day, not off during the weekend, but set back during the weekend, and then ramped up again when school starts on a Monday morning. This is a very good program. Again, there's a lot more that we would love to do. The savings just don't provide that from that standpoint at this point in time. So this is why we focused on the schools that we did, the lighting project as it stands for what we did. From a standpoint of performance, we've done this a lot over our geographical footprint that we participate in, and it's been a well-received program. We've never missed a guarantee with any of our contracts. So in that vein, the minimum savings that we've got in the guarantee, we expect you to save probably another 25%. But from a guarantee standpoint, that's what we've got in there, but we expect more savings than what we actually are projecting on that side of it. Any other questions?
Dr. Arnold, with 3.5 million and a half %, how much more do we need to come up with to fulfill the project? 8.3.
Right. Hey, that's good. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Take it any way you can get it, right?
So,
Mr. Brooks?
This may be for Matt Callahan. What kind of a warranty would we receive with the equipment that would be installed?
The equipment comes with a manufacturer's warranty. We carry that, we provide it, when we do our test and balance and commissioning of the equipment that is applied for. Typical manufacturers' warranties are 5 years for compressors, 1 year in parts and labor. They can be extended. It just depends on the manufacturers that we're going to use for that process. On the retro commissioning aspect of it, we warranty our craftsmanship and what we're doing, and we look at about a year out on that just to make sure that everything's working properly. One of the key components that Dr. Arnold hit on a little earlier, we are not only a company that does this type of construction work, we are a design build engineering company for mechanical systems and controls, and we also have a service group. We have over 1,000 contract customers in our footprint. That means we have technicians running up and down the road. After this, if you've seen our logo on some of the information you may have received, you'll see our trucks now up and down the road. We do a lot of work up in Hamlin County Industrial Park. So we're here, and if there's an issue, we can get to you very quickly and respond to you and help you. And that's the whole idea behind this, is to get to, as Dr. Arnold said, go from a reactive stage and position you're in to a proactive, where now you can maintain it and actually reduce repairs in that way, but also quit spending and bleeding money on the repairs that you're making currently, because you're throwing good money after bad from that standpoint. Okay.
If this were to be approved in the coming months, what would be the turnaround on the project?
Okay.
Or what would you give a completion date to Mr. Bridgewater and Dr. Arnold, or how would that work?
Well, typically what we do is we finalize our equipment specifications, making sure that what we put in the thing is good with the school board, right? Doesn't take a whole lot of time. The lighting would be installed, let's say we started on 10/1. We expect the lighting would be installed by January, at the end of January at the latest. Very quick turnaround. probably quicker than that. But during that construction period is when we start actually seeing savings, but not measuring it. We don't do that until we're turned over and the project is signed off on by the school board, okay? The other pieces of that component, the controls, we would start on as well, putting them in there as long as we're not disrupting school, which we don't expect to do. But the controls we can start to put in and work on the bone and the infrastructure behind that. We can't actually connect all those until we have all the new equipment in. The new equipment is really the issue that we might run into because of supply issues. I can tell you that we were working out in Wayne County in the western part of the state. Last year, we replaced their HVAC system, started it. We ordered the equipment. One piece of equipment was not going to, we ordered it in November, it's not going to ship until November. So we have backlog and supplier issues that could affect the timeline of this. Typically, we see these things completed in about 12 months, something this large. It may extend a little bit longer, but as soon as we have the materials, we will be on site doing our work and getting these completed.
Would there be a completion date as a part of a contract in this project?
I would say once, I can't answer, not up front. I don't know. You guys want to help me out with that? It's hard to say completion date because we don't know what the equipment supply is going to be. If I knew back in the day when it was 3 months supply on an HVAC unit, I say yes, we were going to be done in 6 months to 9 months or 12 months. But right now, we may have to wait on one unit and the rest of the units are here and the completion date fails, okay, from what we established in the contract. Okay. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, for me, I would feel way more comfortable with like a completion date in there, even if it had maybe a caveat to.
Okay, that makes sense. So
I mean, is that?
For the majority of the equipment that's gonna be put in here, lead time's 22 to 30 weeks. So we could easily back into a completion date. Obviously, we only have limited times to work that won't disrupt the learning environment. Summers, breaks, Christmas, or night shift. So we could come up with a pretty solid completion date once the final scope's determined.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Commissioner Scarlett?
Question, Dr. Arnold, maybe for them boys. Is it going to be, are they going to try to standardize the unit for you as opposed to what's scattered out in there, or how do you all look at that?
Yeah, I can answer that question. We would standardize units. We're not going to hodgepodge. So we're going to go with, it's the same thing right now. You go to, we deal with James Franklin, Tennessee Mechanical, we've dealt a little bit with Interstate Mechanical, and they all have their unit and they put things in. And so that's one thing that we want to get away from too. We want to be able that's what makes it hard on our maintenance people is there's 6 different types of units within a building and they can't specialize and know exactly. So it's the same thing. If you've bought a Ford your whole life and that's all you've worked on, it's a little easier to work on it than whenever you get something that's foreign or something that's outside of your specs that you don't know about. So we plan to have it all under one system. People still have control. We want them to be able to go over there if they're hot and turn it down, if they're cold, turn it up, but just not move it to 55 or 85 either.
I don't see any other requests to speak. Motion to adjourn would be in order. We have come to the conclusion of our special call meeting. You want to speak or adjourn? Adjourn?
Wait a minute, I want to say something first before we do that. I think if we came over here and drug all the folks over here, and I know we can't vote on this, we can't spend any funds, we can't vote on allocations, but I think it would be behoove us to tell Dr. Arnold whether we're in or out going forward to this proceed.
So, yeah, I mean, you know, it would be nice to know if you want us to pursue this, if you're interested, want us to come back in October with, once we get a EESI figure, once we have final numbers, we could come back with a proposal of what we would need, what the school system can kick in and cover, and what we would ask you to obligate for us. So,
Your motion? Adjourn? Go on?
So hold on a minute.
Okay.
What's the school board offering like right now?
they're offering up the EESI portion.
3.5
So,
million.
whatever it is, but
or-
basically, right now, somewhere around $400,000 over the life of EESI, which is 12, up to 12 years, so that's $4.8 million.
Is it possible it's 16 years?
Could be possible it's 10 and it's only 4 million. 16 years scary.
I thought I read that it was, could be paid over 16 years.
I think that can be paid over 16 years, but EESI sets that.
ESI will determine the payback period based on the equipment being put in, the lighting, and other things, so we don't have a say in that, so when they approve the final application, we will know exactly what that payback period is.
What's the current fund balance of the school board?
Well, we officially have all the funds closed as of today. So I had a feeling you might ask what the current fund balance might be. So the current fund balance for the general fund for the schools is, the unassigned fund balance is $14.7 million.
Okay. I guess as a response, I would just like to see that school fund balance cover a larger portion of of this project.
And there again, the school system also, to go along with POP, would like to see something done at Jefferson Elementary School.
Yeah, I would too.
So we're not pigeonholing, that money, but we would love to see that school, get some.
Has there been any money set aside for Jefferson Elementary?
There is $1 million set aside. There was an additional $5 million that failed. Additional $6 million that failed.
That failed.
For a total of $7 million that the board tried to set aside. But there's currently $1 million set aside.
When this body voted to send the request to the school board for the pod plan, did they discuss that at all? Has that been discussed by the school board at all?
It has been, no, it's been brought to the board a couple of times to be put on the agenda, but it's not been fully put in there and discussed.
Okay.
It has been talked about, put on the agenda once, pulled off.
Well, concerning Jefferson Elementary, I'd just like to know the school board's thoughts on that plan.
Yeah, there is a current motion to build a new Jefferson Elementary School.
But they haven't discussed the pod plan at all, correct? That's what I was talking about.
They did discuss the pod plan some in a retreat, but it has not gone back to be on there currently. No one has put it back on the agenda.
Can you put it on there through your director's report for their work session?
I could put it up as the executive committee. I could put it on there if the board chooses to. There again, I work for the board, so I would do what
Yeah.
business they would want to do.
Of
Let
course.
me get back on track. Do you have a motion?
I think Jim and I had different ideas, but, or the same idea. But has anybody else got any questions?
Well, yeah, my question.
Well, hold on a minute, because Mr. Coleman's had a request to speak up there.
Do we need
Yeah.
to take this down?
What is your, what is this kind of thing running out for months in this coming year? If you go on that page, outline.
not on the agenda, Mr. Coleman, but if Mr. Arnold wants to answer it, it's okay.
I'm,
projects and areas that they're working on now, other schools? Maybe they can tell us, what else you doing around East Tennessee we can go look at, talk to them, you know?
I started.
Maybe.
I started this, am I supposed to talk? I'm not.
Yeah, well, we're trying to figure out, just take a pause here. I have a motion and a second. Do you have a motion to make? Yeah? So the motions are withdrawn. Mr. Coleman, you asked a question that's, not on the agenda, but if Mr. Arnold,
I don't know that, I can come get that to you tomorrow. I don't know that I,
Mr. Coleman, I hate to interrupt you. That's not on our agenda tonight, and I know it's important, and it can be brought up. You can bring it up to the school board with Mr. Arnold. He said he'd get you some information. Mr. Seals, question?
Explain to me, the school board has a motion to still build the elementary. What do you mean?
I mean, they've not rescinded that motion. They have a motion to build Jefferson Elementary, a new Jefferson Elementary School.
And is it coming back to us?
It's still a standing motion. It's not been rescinded.
It's not been funded either.
No, it's not been funded, but they have a motion to build a,
Are they going to send it?
I would imagine sometime they will come back for funding of Jefferson Elementary School.
Mr. Carmichael had a motion to adjourn earlier. Does it still stand? Second.